Hey, Ohana. I hope everyone is healthy and well and utilizing social distancing as much as possible. Um, this video is first in my series of video member spotlights. I know some of you may have seen our member spotlights done on our blog or on our social media, but I thought I would start doing these member spotlights via video with Zoom, which has become all the rage now that we're all pretty much locked in our homes, unable to be together. I really want you to check out my first video with this member. This is a one-to-one with Garan Digiovanni, a member of ours who's helping me keep our carpets clean and keep our center clean. He's got a company called Beltway Cleaning and Restoration. And he's running that company while also taking care of a sick parent, and when not locked down, also coaching lacrosse for Herndon High School. Phenomenal guy, phenomenal company. Check out his reaction when I accuse him of coaching baseball. I didn't realize it while we were talking at the time, but it's pretty hilarious. And he also has a pretty good opinion pretty funny opinion about baseball itself. Garan Digiovanni with Beltway Cleaning and Restoration. Check it out. All right, here we go. So how are you doing, man?
Doing good. Just, hanging in there. A lot less hugs, a lot less handshakes,
Yeah.
Washing my hands a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Social distancing, quarantining, all the above.
Yeah.
So as a business owner over at Office Evolution, are you business essential? I feel like you would be, right? In a way.
In a way, yeah. Well, we're in an interesting scenario, right? Because I can't tell our members whether they're essential or not. That's their decision, really, and not even decision. I mean, that's for them to determine, right? And I would hope that they would make the right decision as far as whether they're essential or not.
Yeah.
But we deliver mail because we are a commercial mail receiving agency. So that means,
that's priority.
That's priority. So that can't stop unless for whatever reason it's all, it all goes down to a complete shutdown of everything, including government agencies and mail. And if that would be the case, then yeah, we would shut down. But for now, we're limited operation. Everybody's socially distancing. Conference rooms are free. We really are not seeing a lot of guests. Frankly, we haven't seen any guests in March. And even those that we were trying to arrange for maybe virtual tours and things like that, we asked them very respectfully about their, social distancing situation, whether they've been traveling anywhere, to make sure we don't bring people into the center that could be a potential risk. So,
yeah, that's a lot to think about and manage. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, so do you, man. I mean, I would think you're seeing an uptick in business, right? Aren't people asking for cleaning?
There are. So right now, business is kind of, I wouldn't say steady, but we're still taking on some work. A lot of our work is through property managers. So, properties are still turning over. Things still have to happen. They still need those, carpets cleaned and dry vents done, stuff like that. The biggest thing holding me back was my upping my insurance policy to take on some pollution insurance. So that would allow me to do these heavy jobs with, have you seen the videos and news reports of a lot of companies coming in with like a fogger, and it sends out an organic. Yeah. So
I was thinking about that. Is that bullshit or is that real?
I mean, based on the forums that I've seen online, it's pretty real. It has to be applied quarterly. So it's a 3-month living organism that just like absorbs any type of molds, bio material, whatever that's on the surface. It'll just kind of absorb that, or won't let it start growing on porous material where it can start eating away and growing, if that makes any sense. But
So wait a minute. So this thing emits some sort of smoke or vapor that
it's like a
has living like organisms, like bacteria or something.
well, it's an organic product, and what that's going to do is kind of coat a surface to keep anything from growing on top of it. If that makes sense. So the product you're using is not living or alive, or it's not an organism or anything.
Okay.
But what it's producing, it's kind of just putting like a film over everything, and the life expectancy for that is about 3 months, 4 months or so, depending on how busy the area is or humidity levels and things like that. I'm still learning about it. Obviously, there's a lot of virtual learning going on, and industry specialists are posting a lot of stuff online of how to use it, how to properly check, what devices to use, this and that. So I've just been, looking up these types of things, doing some research, ordered a whole bunch of the products and chemicals. However, I'm a small fish in a big pond right now, and all the big boys, all the restoration companies who have been around for a while, they already have all these products back, in their shelves and things like that. And they're going to be first ones to fulfill their orders, because they're the ones, continuously ordering massive amounts of stuff throughout the year. So they're going to be taken care of first. So I'm kind of just playing the waiting game, waiting for, hey, your order's in, it's shipping. Hey, the chemicals are in, they're on their way. But for now, all the big wigs are getting them and things like that. And, it's just not my time to capitalize right now, but at least, learning, getting prepared, getting everything ready for, God forbid something like this happens again, but just our preventative measures, that kind of thing. So definitely a learning curve. So for example, mold, it needs moisture to grow, and it needs to be on a porous material. So it's a, something like wood or drywall, cardboard, certain materials. So what this does is kind of it won't give it that ability to consume any type of material to grow. If that makes sense. It's, I mean, this is what those certification classes are for. But it's going back to mold. Sorry. So obviously mold won't be able to absorb any moisture to grow and get big and start spreading and, have the spores flying around and kind of thing. But of course, that's just mold. This coronavirus deal, as far as the flu is concerned, every surface has to be scrubbed, but, fogged or wiped down with some type of, cleaning agent, special cleaning agent, to make sure, surfaces are good to go and things like that. But I'm in the very beginning stages of learning about this. My business has been around, 3.5 years now. And we've mainly been doing just carpet cleanings and minor property management stuff for now. And as we grow, we're learning. So, and I'm trying to do it the right way. I don't want to show up and do something where I'm guaranteeing the customer one thing, and then, 2 months later it's a problem. So
And they're not getting it. Yeah. So is this product going to help with disinfecting? Like, would it help my center disinfect it and stuff like that? If say you had it,
yeah,
but it's meant for mold.
No, I'm sorry. So I'm just using mold as an example of what it could keep away and keep out. It's just easy to talk about for me, because that's, our main focus is taking care of mold and stuff like that. But microbials, I guess, any type of microorganisms is what this fogging machine would kind of eliminate. So any type of disease or if anybody has a common cold and they're just touching something, this would keep that from spreading or sitting on the material for somebody else to come and use a keyboard or grab the coffee pot or something and potentially catch something. So
do you know what the name of this product is, or this chemical?
I don't offhand. I could do some quick research in the background here and look up my orders, but I don't offhand.
So are you guys busy at all doing like deep cleanings and are people just sort of asking you to come in and I mean, do you see a lot more business coming in? you know, as a result of the pandemic, with just you know, people requesting extra cleaning on top of what's already being done?
Yes and no. We're so a lot of our we don't right now. Our business isn't set up to take on a lot of the residential customers. So we're tailoring our services to property managers. So in a situation like this, it's kind of working out to our advantage a little bit because work is continuing to be steady. You know, people the homes are empty.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, a family that's at their house, you know, instead of asking us to be there to take care of the business, you know, they're in there wiping things down and doing it themselves. Or they don't want us to, you know, people that they don't really know or trust at all to come in there and start touching everything, you know. So that's also a setback, you know, in the customer's mindset. So there hasn't really been too much going on with that. Um, I know, well, one of our customers in Germantown, Maryland, we went there and just took Clorox wipes and went over everything. He was like, look, I don't care. I just want you to hit it, you know, hit all the walls, hit everything you can, get all the desks, the chairs, the arm rails, the door handles, you know, the main areas. And, you know, it worked out that way. And there was no expectation of eliminating, you know, all the viruses and stuff like that. But he just wanted it done. So in that sense, we've been kind of, I wouldn't say upselling, but we've been providing that service to current commercial clients. Um, and like I said, right now we're just a small shop. We've been growing organically. We don't have a lot of, you know, I have two other guys working with me and then a group that I sub work out to. And so with that, we also haven't had to lay anybody off, which is kind of nice. We've got money in the bank prepared for slow season because we're always busy, you know. April, May through September, we're kind of, that's when things pick up and stay steady. So kind of anticipating slow season, and we're just coming out of it more or less. But what I have been doing is a lot of friends who do sales, customer service, event planning, and marketing, they've all been getting laid off. And,
Yeah.
you know, just through communicating here and there, they've been reaching out saying, hey, you know, I can do these small projects for you, or, you know, if you need any help running in and out, I can drive a van. I work with my hands, this, that, the other. So the workforce is there now. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, I've got a good friend of mine from high school who lives over One Loud, and she got laid off from her job, unfortunately. And we've been going back and forth. She's gonna start creating a whole bunch of flyers for me, some trifolds, some door hangers, so I can start capitalizing on that residential market, you know, moving forward. Because now I've got, you know, a seamlessly ending. I won't say never ending, but a whole bunch of individuals who are interested in working right now, which before, you know, not a lot of people want to be, you know, cleaning carpets or being in somebody's house, taking care of, you know, certain things that people don't want to do. So yeah, I mean, I'm in a situation where, you know, I could potentially take advantage of this, learn a lot from it, and put myself in a better spot when it's all over. So just trying to make the best of it, I guess.
Garan, I think that you know, I'm projecting, say, 6 months from now, right?
Should be completely done, yeah.
I don't see us stopping the additional extra cleaning that we're doing in the center right now. 6 months from now, let's just assume it's all, you know, we have the peak has sort of come down, and you know, the medical system is handling the cases, and there's some sort of whatever, right? Things are better. I don't see myself slowing down on the extra cleaning that we're doing at the center. So a company like yours seems to me are perfectly positioned to step in to help
Yeah.
with that, because you're big type companies like the one that's treating our center, and they're doing a great job. When they come in, they vacuum, they clean the common areas, they wipe down surfaces, but it's to them it's there isn't that sort of attention to detail that a company like yours can provide. And with the pandemic, with this sort of thing, you need somebody that kind of, you need to know that somebody came in and actually paid attention to this surface, or this kitchen counter,
Yeah.
or mailroom area, or whatever, or reception
Mm-hmm.
desk, and really wiped it down. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I think that you're going to see a lot more business as a result of this.
Yeah.
If that's the business that you're thinking of tackling, because there's also a danger element to this, right? I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, a buddy of mine works for another company in this industry, and you know, they're dressed to the nines. They've got all their PPE set up. You know, they look like they're going to like a crime scene cleanup job. They've got a full suit on. They've got the mask on. Everything's tucked in, taped up, gloves wrapped around. Everything's ready to go, and they're just going around fogging everything. So yeah, there is a hazardous element to performing the work. What's that? Sorry.
No. So
Oh.
how are your guys taking it? How are your employees?
Oh, good. I mean, some of one guy's a little sketched out a little bit, but you know, we're doing gloves on every job, masks on every job. We're not doing the full suits, and you know, the work we're doing, it's pretty much with empty houses, you know, or empty offices. So there's not a lot of social interaction at all. You're not talking to anybody when you're on site. You know, the door's left open. You're just, or there's a one thing that we've been really stressing is those keypads to get in and out. That's exactly when the gloves have to be on, is right when you get to that keypad, because you know that thing's just filled with all types of stuff. So yeah, overall pretty good. You know, and we deal with mold and stuff, so this is kind of just in that same, you know, arena of diseases and things like that. So, you know, they're both very harmful, and you know, if you don't take care of yourself, obviously it could really do some damage to you. So it kind of just comes with the territory, I think. So two corrections. So biocide is the chemical that we've been looking at. There's a whole bunch of different types of that.
Biocide?
Biocide, yep.
Okay.
And then earlier I said that there were porous materials that they would grow on. That's inaccurate. That's porous materials are like metal materials, glass, steel, things like that. So non-porous would be what the organic matter can grow on. So just check myself a little bit there. Uh-oh.
That noise was my my daughter and her grandma.
Oh, cute. Nice.
Yeah.
Making you some brunch?
God knows. Gosh. It's crazy. We have I have, so it's just my wife and I, and we have one kid, right? But I also have my niece who's socially distancing with us, and my mother-in-law now.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes. So
Got the whole house.
Thank God we have a house that can accommodate that.
Wow. Yeah.
And then every day everybody goes into their separate corners, you know. So like I'm in my office here, my niece is downstairs she's doing college, and my mother-in-law is still doing some part-time bookkeeping, so she's on a computer. My daughter's upstairs on her computer doing Google Classroom, and you know, we run in there. And then my wife, it's if I didn't have, I mean, can you imagine what would people do without broadband, without internet and not everybody has access to high-speed broadband that can support that kind of
Yep.
Holy shit. What would it be if this pandemic hit us in 1994? I'm not talking about 1918, 1994.
Yeah.
Completely plausible, right? It could have happened.
Yeah.
All
Especially
the
when everybody's
ingredients, global economy, travel, everything is in place. What happened if it emerged in 1994 and there was no wide-scale connectivity to support at least some of this economy?
Yeah, you wouldn't phone bills would be up through the roof, you know?
But there's no way you could have
Oh
done
man, everybody would be pulling
I
their hair
guess
out.
I guess courier company. I'm thinking like who would courier companies would do okay, right? Like
Oh yeah.
running paperwork back and forth and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Would you see Amazon? They've been hiring people like crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been quitting just due to circumstances, but that was another news article. But yeah, delivery services. I don't know if you've been watching the stock market at all, but you know, Walmart, they've been kind of treading up. Amazon's been trending up, and you know that's just because they're just in a good opportunity to continue business, and
Yeah.
ramp up with that,
Well, they're transforming themselves to support this for the long term. Like nobody's going back to sort of doing things. I mean, yeah, we will all get together. There'll be summer concerts and we'll be having fun. But if you go to the giant parking lot out here in Ashburn, on our particular giant, I I saw about a third of the parking lot now is dedicated to customer pickup. So the parking lot, there's poles in the parking lot spaces,
Wow.
and the parking spaces are labeled customer pickup, customer pickup. So they're
Wow.
already thinking long term that basically people will just pull up and somebody will run out and make an order online. Somebody will run out and load up the car and off they go.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. A lot of restaurants and stuff are doing free delivery. Saw Chipotle was doing free delivery for all their orders, which is a great idea. And like you said, for the long term, there's going to be a lot of customers out there who just refuse to go in and out, be around extra people, take that risk.
Well, right now it's a refusal, but
oh, true, yeah, but
6 months from now or a year from now, it's going to be convenience, right? It's like,
true.
why do I want to go into a grocery store when I can just hit add to cart and maybe there's a premium on it, maybe not. Those businesses will figure it out, and then pull up and a person comes out and fills up my car.
Yep.
Why would I? In a way, Costco is probably best suited for that kind of a service because they are basically a warehouse. So
Yeah.
the decoration, you know what I mean? So those grocery
Yep.
stores could become basically warehouses.
Yep.
With
you don't really need to be any aesthetics. You don't have to, keep up the certain lights in certain area because all you got is people picking.
Little rain droplets dripping on your celery.
Yeah, holiday stations,
That's right.
Santa station. Yeah.
Forget it.
Halloween setup. No, interesting. Yeah, a lot more virtual tours, I imagine, are going to be coming up with, like I'm sure in your space, the virtual tours and then showing homes and stuff like that.
Office Evolution isn't there yet, or maybe they are, but they're not communicating it out yet. But I'm already thinking that our sales cycle will completely change and go to a virtual model. Because frankly, and again, what's a necessity now will become convenience tomorrow, right? We're already doing FaceTime tours. If somebody wants to take a look at the center without coming in,
yeah, true.
We can give them a FaceTime tour. But a year from now, that's just going to be convenient. I think most of our sales cycle will go virtual, right?
Yeah.
Lead capture to meeting with a person, showing them the center. It can still be on FaceTime or with some sort of camera, show them what the center looks like, virtual tours, and then they can at that point make a decision whether it's good enough or if they want to show up.
Yeah, take a
look. By then, most of the conversation will be done. So really, they'll just show up to just make sure that the center is nice and real and they like the people, right? The selling part will be done virtually. I imagine the same thing for you, right? I mean, why do you need to show up at somebody's house or at a I don't know, in an office when wouldn't you be able to move most of that virtual?
Um, yes and no. I mean, and that's a great point as far as educating our customers what we do virtually. I think it would be extremely beneficial for me to, get some type of video of me going through these jobs, and kind of make my own YouTube clips here and there to kind of educate the customer, and throughout those clips, have it professionally done to kind of educate, the PowerPoints of what's happening and what the chemicals are doing when we're putting them down, and why we have to wait 10 minutes for the stuff to settle down before we come back and wipe, or, you know, why we have to come back the next day when we drop a dehumidifier in the room to reduce all the moisture, kind of thing. Um, so in a sense, I don't think it would be a live type of video, but definitely educating the customer for, the importance of cleaning your carpets, do dryer vents, inspecting for moisture levels, investigating wet areas of your walls or your floors, things like that. In that sense, I think that would be huge for gaining customers' loyalty and trust.
And being
Because
able
then
to
once,
scale,
I'm sorry,
and being able to scale your sales cycle.
very much so, yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of business development on the horizon for sure, for sure. So just adjusting and trying to make it happen.
So where is your head at on this? Are you optimistic? Are you scared? Are you?
Um, I'm more optimistic. There's things we can control and there's things we can't control. So I'm kind of just focusing on, what I can do to better myself coming out of this. Myself, my business, my family, the, um, the on a personal level, the biggest hurdle throughout this whole thing is not being able to coach this season. A lot of the boys, the family, at the college level, March Madness, professional sports, man, just like with every profession, but that stuff keeps us entertained. It keeps us busy. It keeps the 9 to 5 guys something to look forward to when they go to happy hour kind of thing, and all that's taken away. So that's just been a huge hit, and coaching these boys all throughout the year, waiting for the season to start, and then it drops off. That's just been the biggest bummer. But with the downtime, it's just time to take advantage of it, learn and grow, and things like this are a possibility. We're not indestructible. We're all human. Things happen, and yeah, so optimistic, I guess, is the overall mindset right now, and just being prepared, right?
Would you be coaching right now? Is it, I don't know shit about coaching, so.
Oh yeah. So the season was we oh man, it was March 9th, I think. Well, we were the Friday before our first game was when schools were closed down. So we didn't even get a chance to suit up to play. So we were like 2 weeks into the season. We just finished up our second scrimmage. What is it? It's April 7th. So April, May. We would have been playing till end of May at least.
You're coaching, so this is baseball.
This is lacrosse.
Oh, this is lacrosse. You're.
It's okay. It's all good. I mean, I was a baseball stud growing up, but then I broke my wrist and couldn't play baseball with a broken wrist. So, and that was all she wrote.
You broke your wrist playing baseball?
Oh no, you can't break anything. Well, I don't say that and offend anybody, but
Oh, okay.
no, no, I broke
Yeah.
my wrist snowboarding. Yeah, and missed tryouts, and then I was waiting, all year to play baseball in spring, and then I couldn't. And they were like, you can be a manager, and we'll, you can try out next year, and we all know you, and blah blah blah. But I was like, I want to do something, and ended up playing lacrosse. And then the next year, the lacrosse coach came to me and was like, hey, listen, you're athletic, you're this, that, you could be, a good player. And that was kind of where my love and passion went to. So, and it's a much more exhilarating sport. It's transition game back and forth, nice and fast. Whereas baseball, nobody likes to think of this, but baseball, really took off during the Great Depression, right? So it's a three and a half hour game, really cheap. lots of alcohol, keep everybody busy. It's, lacrosse is more like hockey where it's fast paced, it's timed. There's no stop and go. It's very interactive. And if you're sleeping on any play, somebody can take advantage of you, so it's, you got to be awake at all times. And if you're lazy or you're not paying attention, you'll be taken advantage of. So I just it's just a much higher intensity sport. Anyway,
Well, I just saw some article somewhere that is, I had never thought about it. Baseball grew up during the Great Depression and took up a lot of time. I saw an article talking about the fact that MLB is considering doing the entire season in Arizona somewhere virtually.
Huh, virtually?
Correct.
I heard the NBA doing quarantine games at one stadium, but virtually? What?
Yeah.
How does that gonna work?
No, virtual. No, they'll play in a real stadium.
Oh, okay. But they'll just broadcast.
It'll be an empty stadium.
So you'll have all the teams just living within the city. Hey, well, at least that economy would be booming there in Arizona. Because deliveries would be going off the hook.
Wow.
That's interesting.
So lacrosse. So what is lacrosse like? What is this like? I mean, I know what it is like, but it's basically soccer with a stick and a net, right? Or
very, very kind of like soccer. Yeah, I would say the quickest way to identify with another sport, it's kind of like hockey, but in the air.
Okay.
So instead of playing on the ice, you're just playing up here in the air. Translates very well with basketball, pick and rolls, rotations on offense, always happening. Your point guard's always kind of quarterbacking around. Then as soon as there's a turnover, right away it's transition, full court press. Lacrosse, you're going to be doing the same thing, just riding and on clears and stuff like that.
Penalties and stuff like that, where
you
have one player out and stuff like that, and you have advantage. Okay.
Correct. Yep. And they're all timed. Some are released, some aren't, depending on the severity of the penalty. Technical fouls, personal fouls. So it's fun. I get really into it.
And so you're coaching in Herndon, right?
Yep.
What are you coaching, JV or what's?
So this was my 6th year. I was an assistant for 2 years, just floating around, doing stations with all the boys. Then for 2 years, I was a JV head coach. Then last year, I was the defensive coordinator for varsity. This year, I was set up to do the same thing. And then next year, I'm lined up to be the head coach. But we'll see. There's an interview process with that. And there's some openings around the area. I would love to stay at Herndon because I went to Herndon a long time ago. But we'll see. So it's just so rewarding. And every year I've done it, just asking questions of why isn't this happening? Why can't we do that? How come, we're not, this isn't what we're focusing on. And I've just been kind of plugging holes every year. And the more I do it, the more kids are appreciative, the more the parents, oh, thank you so much for putting in the extra work. You made a huge impact on Joseph. For example, one of my players came to me in September saying he wanted to play college lacrosse. And I think you might have saw this in my keynote. But within 4 months, we just came. I had no idea what to do. I have never been mentored on how to facilitate a player from the high school level to the college level. But I just thought, what would I want on the other end as a head coach of a program? So me and Joseph, I challenged him, hey, put together a cover letter for yourself. Highlight your academics, all the work you've been doing, this, that, the other. Anyway, in a nutshell, we got him recruited and he's playing ball next year at Marymount University. But so we did a lot of work with the youth program because a lot of our kids that would come into the high school have no experience playing, whereas other schools in the area who are a little bit more fortunate, they've had players who've been playing for 6-7 years, so they're already studs when they get to high school, where we're taking football players, basketball players, soccer and baseball kids who did not make their teams, coming to lacrosse and just learning. And it takes a 1 or 2 year learning curve, and then once they fall in love with it, then they get really good and then they graduate. So it's tough because they're not even peaking before they move on. And we're always about right under 500 for the past like 4 years. But yeah, that's going to change. So if I stick around. Anyway, that's my goal. But it's just so much fun, and I love doing it, and it's part of giving back to the community, and you know, it's extra special because I'm doing it at Herndon, which is nice. Anyway, yeah, so that's my coaching spiel. I don't know how we start diving into that so much. Sorry about that.
No. I mean, I think it's fascinating. I know a lot of guys that coach. I have my old neighbor. The guy just is a natural coach. I mean, he just coaches tennis. He coaches.
Nice.
I want to say he coaches softball or baseball. I never had an ounce of sportsman type. You know what I mean? It's like
The locker room mentality. Yeah.
racquetball is probably like the closest I ever got to like really enjoying a sport. Like really enjoying a sport.
Yeah.
And I probably played it the longest. But to coach and to just sort of find that way to give back to the community that way, it's pretty fascinating stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
There probably is a personal satisfaction out of this, right? It's like by giving you sort of, it is in a way almost, I don't want to say selfish, but it feels good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the school that Herndon historically has not been very good at lacrosse. We've always been competitive, but we're always in a tough district. Recently we've changed to another district, but they still have never in the history of lacrosse have won a conference championship, or I guess district championship is what we call it. Never. And that's my goal over the next few years is to bring that home, and then I'll feel okay about walking away if that happens. But that's definitely a goal of mine, is to put one of those up on the banner in the high school gym. So we'll see.
So you're technically a Fairfax County Schools employee, right, as a coach, or is this a freebie?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I get all those FCPS emails and all the updates of, you know, what the superintendent's planning on doing and things like that. And so it's very, although Twitter is the best source for instant information for sure. There'll be things on Twitter 20, 30 minutes before we get emails. So that's just a side note. So yeah.
Well, Garan, I've always found what you're doing just absolutely fascinating, and I admire you a lot. I mean, you take care of a sick parent at home. You're running a cleaning company. You're running Beltway Cleaning and Restoration. You're coaching lacrosse. How do you manage it all, man? How do you find what's driving this?
Wow, good question. What drives it? I don't know. Maybe I mean, overall, just a sense of wanting to give back. Life's short. You know, I'm just trying to be the type of coach that I didn't have, and that was, you know, putting in a little extra effort. I don't treat it like a job. You know, I treat it as more of like a responsibility, something I want to take on. As far as being a caretaker at home, that's frustrating. I learned a lot of patience through that. It's made me and some of my family members closer. It's made some family members more distant. That's just how it is. Some people deal with things differently. Business wise, you know, a lot of people try to give me advice on, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And, you know, why aren't you taking this path? Why aren't you marketing here, this, that, the other? And I just haven't overextended myself. You know, I haven't taken on any massive loans or lines of credit to employ that I rely on to employ my people. So I've been using, you know, I haven't put myself in a situation where, you know, it's, oh, how am I going to pay these guys? Or, you know, how are we going to get a crew to this job at this time when they're already over here? So just kind of growing organically and not burning any bridges along the way. That's kind of how the business has been sustainable throughout, my personal issues and coaching. So, I mean, I don't know if that answers the question, but as far as touching all those subjects, I guess that's an overall view of or a little insight of what I've been doing, how to manage it. So I'll tell you what, though, with all this stuff going on, it affects the social life, that's for sure. So, we'll see. The whole family thing's definitely been on delay for a little while, so we'll see. But, everything happens for a reason. It'll fall in place when it does, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But how about you, man? I know you've got a lot going on. You're the seems like everybody's gravitating to you for the shelter, the comfort. You got the house to hold everybody down. You got to run the center. The Ohana. I know they're all leaning on you. I know that's fact.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta tell you, I'm kind of a head in the clouds, or maybe I've just, as I've gotten older, I've become a head in the clouds type guy. I just want to think big strategic thoughts, and my attention to detail is either there on very small, tiny tasks, or not there at all, which basically makes me a crappy operations guy. So I am very happy to have Chris there, my business manager, because she's awesome. She absolutely pays attention to just the day-to-day management of our center. Even now remotely, I just know I have somebody out there that wakes up every day and thinks about, keeping the lights on, making sure things are stocked, the coffee's there, and that our members continue to have a place where they can go, because, as business continues, right? So anyway, so that's how I'm doing it. I'm doing it with the help of a great person, a great employee. And that allows me to then concentrate on making sure that that culture, that Ohana aspect of things is continues, and really the right attitude, Garan, is, what I mean, it crystallizes our mission and our focus. This whole situation crystallizes that our focus is about those businesses, about those people. And so every day it's like, if I'm not thinking about that, what about this? What about our members? Do they have a good place to go to? What are they thinking about? Where can I step in to help out? And it's not like I can necessarily get my head in and open up an office and say, hey, do you want me to do some of your paperwork or something like that? That's not how it works. I just want to make sure that I'm there to cover things in case they need it. I mean, people still need to use the center, right? People, believe it or not, people still walk in. I still see virtual members coming in because maybe things are so crazy at home that they simply need to go in, and so they need to know that we're doing all that extra cleaning and all that extra care to make sure the center is spotless, and that we're providing all these opportunities for people to distance themselves so they're not sitting on one on top of another. So that's where my head's at, man, and I'm doing it thanks to Chris.
She's great.
She's fantastic. She's great. My wife is handling all the finance aspects of things, which allows me to then think about, all those kind of crazy big thoughts. For example, right? We were thinking of putting in a touchpad device up front to let people sort of check in. So if they want to come into the center and they want to contact one of our members, they could look at their name up and their phone dials. It's called Greetly. It's a great service. But I don't know if the future really includes public touchpad devices anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
I imagine it'll just be a scan thing with your phone.
Exactly. So now we're talking about interaction between devices, or I mean, this extends into ATMs and other things. So that's kind of where my head's at. It's like, okay, I don't think that a touch device is a good idea in the center, right?
Yep.
Um, what about teleworkers, right? There's a whole new category of people that in about 6 months will decide, you know what, working at the dining room table every day isn't as fun as I thought it
Mm-hmm.
would, right? So maybe my employer is now on board with letting me work from home or maybe a few days from home, but the conditions inside of that home aren't necessarily conducive to a professional workspace, right? It's a refrigerator, it's the dog, it's all the
Yeah.
distractions of a home, right? So we have a whole new category, potential category of members that are now being made, and it will be about 6 months before they wake up to the reality of working from home and the fact that they need help. So, I want to make sure that we position the center to be there for them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my head's at. And again, I'm doing it thanks to Chris, because if it wasn't for her, I would, I would have to be, obviously somebody has to take care of the operations and things like
Oh yeah.
that. Other than that, just making sure that everybody stays safe at home, right? Nobody does anything stupid.
Mm-hmm.
We canceled Easter. In terms of Easter, is typically a family gig for us.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, my mom. That's not going to happen. So,
That's tough.
we do what we have to. But I was thinking about you though, because you have a sick parent at home, but you still sometimes have to get out there, right? Or I mean, that's probably a concern for you, right?
It is.
Or bringing something home and exposing them.
Yeah. A lot less hugs, a lot less kisses. She's essentially bedridden, so just I'll go out, do some work, come. I live in the basement, so I'm in and out through that area. I'll always change my clothes and take a quick shower before I come upstairs and do anything. Um, like I said, just not a lot of hugs, not getting too close, because we're responsible for feeding her and things like that. You don't need to hear all that, but so it is definitely a concern. We have been, so we're social distancing and quarantining during this time, right? And I've got friends of mine or couples, and they'll come over and bring their chairs, and we'll just sit in the back and have a fire pit or something, and then they'll come up on the deck and just talk to my mom through the window. So she enjoys that, some extra little interaction and stuff. But nobody's coming in the house, or at least in the upper area, to be around her at all.
Yeah.
And luckily and shout out to all the nurses and stuff, because she's she's on hospice, and the nurses have just been amazing. They're still coming every day or 5 days a week and taking care of her and checking in that, and our nurse Carla, she's got kids at home and stuff like that, and her husband's a carpenter, and they're balancing this whole thing, and it's just, I couldn't imagine if I had a young family right now, especially multiple kids, or if I was like in a situation where you're strapped and you're paycheck to paycheck, man. So it's there's silver lining to everything, I guess, and it's just yeah, I'm getting off topic, but yeah, just extra cautious with my mom, and anybody that goes around her, and we're loaded up with not loaded up, but we've got a bunch of hand sanitizers and stuff ready to go, which we kind of use anyway. So that was kind of a perfect practice before all this started anyway, because my mom's susceptible to a lot of diseases. She got sepsis on Christmas Day this past year just because she got the flu a few days earlier. She was in and out of the ICU in a few days, but she's that fragile. Her immune system's that low to where, the simple flu could give her sepsis within a few days. And her kidneys were shutting down. It was wild. But, we've learned from that, thankfully. And here we are. And so for us, it's just kind of more business as usual with her, but just with extra precautions, that's for sure. Yeah, so it's just been, just getting by as best we can.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with the little one? Like, have you been crushing all the Disney Plus movies or what?
No, no, not really. We're trying to be careful with screen. We have been trying to be careful with screen time, but that's sort of it's not as easy as it sounds because the kid is. I mean, this is I would say a post-digital generation. Like this is a generation that isn't just born digital. They are
Relying on it.
yeah. I mean, they're just so I'll give you an example. While we were away, my daughter just naturally, no, I don't know how, came to me and said, I want to send a message to her grandma, right? Babcia. That's Polish for grandma. And so I taught her how to do that, and it just took her 30 seconds to get that, figure out the whole emoji situation. A 6-year-old, all of a sudden she's texting my wife, and so she's sending emails, she's texting people. I mean, she just completely figured this stuff out inside of 45 minutes, and it snowballed from there. When the schools closed, I jumped very quickly onto the homeschooling. So I started researching and looking for different places where I can platforms that can support her homeschooling. I wasn't going to rely on Loudoun County Public Schools,
Yeah.
and I found a few because they've had you know years of experience, right, putting together homeschooling content and stuff like that. So I put Alexandra on a homeschooling platform called Time for Learning,
Hmm.
and really great content, curriculum for first graders, seems to match what Loudoun County Public Schools are doing. Um, and it gives me the ability to see where she's good, where she's not good. So made me a lot closer to
Yeah.
her, to actually understanding her school and academic life. So that's a positive. Now, Loudoun County Public Schools came out with their distance learning platforms. So she jumped on that, and so she's doing that plus Time for Learning. And we're not going crazy. It's just that these are the options that she has. But I gotta tell you, this about as far as this post-digital generation is concerned, now she's figuring out how to use these tools in a completely innovative way. Like as an old software guy, as a technology guy, I step back and I'm looking at her and go, figuring out
Different avenues of using
different avenues of doing this stuff that are outside of probably what they were designed for.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
super cool.
these kids are now communicating together. They're having little virtual Zoom happy hours or equivalent.
Tea parties.
Yeah, tea parties, right? With these Google Classroom tools, and she can barely type and can't spell for shit, but just rocking away. And she's doing it now on a PC. So I set her up with a PC. I am
Nice.
amazed. I am amazed, and it took a few weeks for her to just not only just like jump into it or embrace it or learn it, but just like become an innovator.
Yeah.
I see my kid as an innovator on this platform for how
Super
distance learning should be done. So another aspect of this, again, head in the clouds, right, is education. Education, those institutions they better get on board because that ship has sailed. And now that parents are recognizing how much closer they can get to their kids' education and actually see whether they're good or not. You know how it is when you go to like a teacher and parent conference. it's all good. We love Alexandra. She's fantastic, and it's all
Mm-hmm.
just, oh, she's doing great. Maybe she can do just a little bit better here and there. I very quickly realized that she had major gaps in certain areas of math, and in certain areas she was really good. And
Yeah.
so, um, yeah, education will be different too going forward because our kids, those 6-year-olds right now on Google Classroom, are disrupting the
Yeah.
institution. I really believe it. I don't want to sound crazy about it, but it's happening, brother. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Hmm.
So it's awesome to watch.
I bet. That's gotta be cool. Makes me excited to be a parent one day.
I think you would make a fantastic parent.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I'll have a lot of support around me, I hope. So I'll be pinging I'll be pinging you guys. Hey, when this happens? Oh yeah, here we go. That's funny.
well, listen, I've taken a lot of your time, but really, this is just the whole idea behind this is to spotlight your company, spotlight you as a human being, as a person. I think you're fantastic. Do you want to just do a little, since this is an equivalent, this is our way of doing a BNI one-to-one. Do you want to do a little quick, just to kind of wrap things up, pitch about your company and what you're trying to do, or something that will let everyone know about, you know,
Yeah,
about your company and what you do?
sure. I mean, Beltway Cleaning and Restoration. Small business. Been around for going on 4 years now. Slowly growing, focusing on carpet cleaning, vent cleanings, house cleanings, upholstery cleanings. We've done mattress cleanings. We've done a whole bunch of different stuff. Tile cleanings, use tile. Got a whole bunch of different tools to sanitize bathrooms, kitchens, anything like that. Certifications in mold, applied, structural drying, setting ourselves up for preferred vendors for heavy mitigation jobs for insurance companies, things like that. But overall, just being a good person throughout the whole process, I think is the biggest key, and that sets you apart. And setting your business up to, very much like you have, to attract hard workers who are willing to be loyal through thick and thin times. So just exemplifying the type of boss that I would want. So I'm trying to be that person to attract, those employees, which I think right now would be a great opportunity to capitalize on that. But that's a side note. But yeah, just growing and doing things the right way, getting the proper certifications, getting the contracts set up correctly, getting, all our ducks in a row before we overextend ourselves. I don't want to, be a company that has that oh crap moment where did we do this? Did we not do this? Oh, did we have the regulations? Do we have the OSHA standard on site? Were we able to explain to the customer properly? Which is where a lot of companies kind of fall short, or just fib their way through an explanation or job. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of gray area in our industry. So just making sure we do it the right way and crossing our T's and dotting our I's is a primary focus as well. But yeah, I'm going to keep rambling, so we'll just stop right there.
So who's a good referral for you?
Insurance adjusters, they'd be great moving forward. Property managers are awesome. Anybody in your neighborhood looking to have those carpets cleaned once a year, twice a year. Real estate agents. Those are primarily, they'd be great reference or referral sources for sure. But yeah, like I said, anybody who, people who have elderly people at home or young kids where they need those vents cleaned, because they're more susceptible to certain diseases and things like that, or mold. So yeah, anybody in those categories pretty much.
Where can we find you?
Instagram, Facebook, website, beltwaycr.com is the website. Instagram is the same thing, beltwaycr. Yeah, everything's posted on there, contact information. We got a couple highlights on Instagram, which are kind of fun to check out here and there. But yeah,
Right.
looks a little something like that.
Nice. love it.
How about you?
How about me?
Give yourself a shout out. We need the Office Evolution shout out.
That's all right.
I guess if it's posted there, it'll be on there anyway.
If it's posted, it'll be there. But I want to highlight you as a member of Office Evolution, as a great guy. I've always enjoyed our one-to-ones. You are just. I know that the universe has a lot of good stuff in store for you, just because.
Wow, thank you.
No, I do, I really, and I do admire you for the fact that you are taking care of your sick mom. You're finding a way to give back to the community and to run a fantastic company that has been helping us at Office Evolution. I just love talking to you and learning more and more about you. I hope we can get together soon, man, and face to face and not virtually.
Definitely.
And so thanks, man. But this has been cool.
Absolutely.
All right.
Happy to do it. Thanks, Martin.
All right. Take care.
Take care, man. Wash those hands. See ya.
I will. See you.